KFGO.com, and on the Triple Towers of Power, the mighty 790 News Radio, KFGO.
The mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO. Are you going to have this one on tonight, Paulie, when the moon comes out?
Absolutely.
Dancing around a little bit. Maybe the Mavericks' Blue Moon.
Could be.
Who sings Blue Moon of Kentucky?
I have no idea.
Moon River, Andy Williams.
Okay.
There's a lot of moon songs out there. We're getting moony here this afternoon. The final super moon of 2021 is coming out tonight. It's called the Strawberry Moon. Final supermoon of the year. And why is it a supermoon? Because it gets close, about 228,000 miles away. If I'm not mistaken, I think normally the moon is about 245,000 miles away from the Earth. But we'll ask our expert up here in just a moment. I just didn't want to miss this final supermoon of 2021. And to talk to us more about this stuff, joining us from the Physics and Astronomy Department at Minnesota State University Moorhead is Professor of Physics and Astronomy, Mr. Juan Cabanela joins us. Hello, Professor, and welcome to KFGO, sir.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Just super. Thank you so much for joining us. So was I anywhere near correct there, talking about the supermoon there?
Yeah, supermoons are the name they give for the full moons that happen closest to perigee. Perigee is when the moon goes. It's not in a circular orbit around the Earth. It's in what's called an ellipse. So it's a little closer in one part of its orbit and a little farther in another part of its orbit. And if the full moon happens to happen when the moon is closest to the Earth, they call it a supermoon.
Okay, gotcha. Because the orbit is like a kind of egg shaped. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean it is just a notch off of circular. Egg shape would be implying that it's really far off, but it's like if you've ever had like a what do you call these a rubber ball and you just push down on it a little bit, the shape just goes a little bit off from being like a circle.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Okay, gotcha. So when it's in supermoon phase, does this impact the scientific world? By the way, we're talking to Juan Cabanela, Professor of Physics and Astronomy at MSUM, expert, as we're talking about the supermoon and other things in the sky this afternoon. So does this do anything? Do the people in observatories go into hyper mode because they can see the moon clearer? Or does anything change with a supermoon?
Well, most people in observatories don't observe tonight because full moon wrecks the sky for us.
Oh,
but
sure, bright, I suppose.
Yeah, because it's so bright. I will say that the people who pay attention to this are actually mariners, because when the full moon is a little bit closer, the tides are a little bit higher. There is another time when the moon and sun are during full moon. The moon and sun are also pulling sort of in the same, essentially on the same axis. And so the tides are particularly high, and a supermoon tide is even higher than that. So, they'll pay attention to this near the coast.
Okay, gotcha. Are you going to be out paying any attention to this, Dr. Cabanela? Not really?
Tonight. No, well, I have homework.
Well, there you go. It never ends for him.
Yeah, it never ends.
I got you.
But, if you want to see it, they call it the Strawberry Moon. I heard you guys talking that you didn't know why.
Yes.
Strawberry Moon, as I understand it, the name actually comes from the Ojibwe, and it just refers to the fact that this is the time when you could, I believe, start collecting strawberries.
Right. Yep, you're right.
They have some other names. I found my favorite is the Mohawks for the same moon, this moon early in the summer. They call it the Fruits Are Small Moon. Because your fruits are small.
Sure, yeah.
I really like that.
We just had a friend of mine, Brian Sean, on the air a couple of days ago, and he was picking strawberries when I called to bother him to be on the air with his family in Alexandria. So there you go, Strawberry Moon, because the strawberry crop I thought it was too early for that. But yeah, so that's where the name comes from, the Strawberry Moon, not because of the color of the moon this evening when you are out enjoying it. So, Professor Cabanela, with the looking up at the stars this summer, we were talking earlier on the phone, and you said, it's fairly quiet this summer. I mean, there's not a lot of action, at least not that you're expecting when you look up into the sky. Is there anything else we can look forward to when we're looking up in the stars this summer on vacation, etc.?
I looked up a little bit. On July 12th happens to be what they call a conjunction of two of the brightest planets in the sky, Venus and Mars. So right after sunset, in that half hour after sunset, if you look on the western horizon, you'll see two really bright dots next to each other, and those are Venus and Mars just next to each other on the sky. They're still millions of miles apart in space, but they look right next to each other on the sky.
Okay.
That just happens to be coming up on July 12th. I tend to like those. Those are just fun to point out to kids because it's not often that you can see two planets, like literally you can cover them with your thumb, both of them at once.
Otherwise, you think it's going to be fairly quiet this summer?
Yeah, I mean, we have the Perseid meteor shower, which happens every year, but the one this year happens to be really fairly close to new moon, so it's a good dark sky for it. So anytime around August 11th, don't worry if it's the night of August 11th, it's cloudy. I mean, it could be a few nights before to a few nights after. If you grab a blanket, get some bug spray first if you're anywhere in this area, and spray yourself off. But if you go out there at about 11 p.m. and lay down and just let your eyes dark adapt, after about 10 or 15 minutes, once your eyes are really seeing the night sky clearly, you should be able to pick out about a meteor every minute.
Oh.
They really come in at a good clip. The Perseids are incredibly reliable, so anytime around August 11th, there'll be 50 to 75 meteors every hour, so about one a minute.
Well, how about that? So is there a particular part of the sky we should be looking for with the meteor shower?
Up. No, if you know your constellations, you can look toward Perseus. But the truth is that I've sat down for the Perseids. They cross the entire sky. So very quickly, you as long as you have a good view, sort of a wide view of the sky above you, you're going to see that flash, and your eyes going to just go right to it.
Okay. Well,
so you don't have to worry about. It's not like a tiny little part of the sky. They're all over the sky.
Okay, I'm going to mark my calendar on that. Dr. Juan Cabanela, who is professor of physics and astronomy at MSUM, is joining us today because we have the final supermoon of 2021, the strawberry moon, full moon, is going to be out tonight. And weather looks like it's going to be pretty nice for watching the moon tonight. At least I hope it stays that way. Let me see here. Oh, we do have increasing clouds in the forecast. Geez, I hope it stays clear enough for us to watch the moon. So here's the big question, Dr. Cabanela. Do you think humans' behavior or animal behavior changes at all when we have a big full moon like this?
I can tell you that, and I've looked into this, so the people who think like lunacy, the word lunacy is tied to the full moon.
Yeah.
Lunacy, people have looked for examples of it. Like I had someone who insisted that emergency room visits increased during the full moon. But when you look at it, you can't find that. The statistics don't bear it out. Like people have looked for things like that. I don't think human behavior is particularly affected by the full moon, other than it does let you be out a little in the dark without having to, rely on flashlights and stuff. So I suppose people will use that. But I mean, animals are certainly affected by it. There are animals that have a very, that rely on the moon being up for certain behaviors. But humans, I think we're too, our lives are too artificial light intensive now.
I suppose that's true. Dr. Juan Cabanela joining us from MSUM, from the Physics and Astronomy Department at Minnesota State University, Moorhead. Professor, I would be remiss if I know this isn't why you were on with us, but we got to talk just a moment about your dad. Your dad was a great orthopedic surgeon. His dad worked at the Mayo Clinic, you guys, orthopedic surgeon at the Mayo Clinic, and once operated on the King of Spain. Amazing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure my father would be the first to point out that the King of Spain was just another guy. I mean, he was a guy with a messed up hip.
Wow.
So my dad helped him out. But, yeah, it just led to an interesting situation. Never had anything like it happen where, because the Spanish media got interested in this, my dad is from Spain, has been a U.S. citizen for years, but he's from Spain. And the Spanish media started calling me in the middle of the day at work. They started trying to track me down. They tried to track my brother down. They were trying to get any information they could on my father. It was one of the most ridiculous things. They're looking for information on the king's doctor. It's imagine if TMZ was trying to find you or something like that. It was the most ridiculous thing in my mind that you could imagine. And my father did the smartest thing in the world, which is no interviews. And he did one interview because they wanted him to do one interview to talk to all the media at once. And then after that, he just hid.
How
for
about
the whole time he was there.
So did he, was your dad knighted? Is he considered the
no.
the royal doctor?
Nope, nothing like that. He literally, the only thing that happened is he had to stay there for about 2 to 3 weeks, and I think they ended up covering his hotel bill. But other than that, it was quite literally just a job. It was if anything, it just had a lot of public relations annoyances, like him having to, stay out of sight and not, my dad would never talk about a patient.
Sure.
Ever.
No, I suppose.
But here he was literally being asked to talk about a patient on Spanish television.
So your dad, he's from Spain, so he speaks the language, everything. So
no. My parents both grew up there. So they came here about a year before I was born because of the job at, actually they came originally for a job in Iowa. And then my father ended up going to the Mayo Clinic, and he stayed there for the rest of his employed life.
That's just a remarkable story. Dr. Juan Cabanela, Ph.D., professor of physics and astronomy at Minnesota State University, Moorhead, talking to us about his brush with greatness with his father and the King of Spain, and, of course, his expertise with the stars and the moon, with the supermoon coming our way tonight, the strawberry moon. Dr. Cabanela, I can't thank you enough. I worked really hard to find Dr. Cabanela today, and I thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. It means a lot, so thank you.
Oh, no problem. Take care.
Take care, Dr. Cabanela. Juan Cabanela, professor of physics and astronomy at MSUM. Super cool guy. KFGO time is 4:52. You're listening to The Drive with Dan Michaels on the Mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO.
Local, regional, national, and world news.